Hi, this is my progress update on The Art of the Start by Guy Kawasaki, covering chapters 1 through 8. As I read these chapters, one of the biggest things that stood out to me is how different Guy's approach is compared to what I originally thought entrepreneurship was. I used to think starting a business was mostly about planning, money, and having everything figured out at first, but this book really challenges that idea. In chapter 1, The Art of Starting, the idea of making meaning really stood out to me. Instead of focusing on what just making money, Kawasi emphasizes creating something that actually improves people's lives. That changed my perspective because I realized that businesses that focus on purpose are more likely to succeed long term. I also feel like the idea of using a short mantra instead of a one long mission statement just feels more realistic and easier to apply. Chapter 2, Positioning, Guy talks about clearly answering the question, what do you do? What I found interesting is how he stresses focusing on a niche instead of trying to appeal to everyone. I used to think going broad would bring more success, but now I see that starting small and being specific actually creates a stronger positioning and growth. Chapter 3 focuses on pitching, and one thing I took away is that less is more. Instead of overwhelming people with information, the goal is to clearly explain why your idea matters. That stood out to me because I tend to over explain things, so this made me realize the importance of being clear and conscious. Chapter 4, A Business Plan. Uh, Guy talks about it, and it surprised me. He suggests keeping them short and flexible instead of long and overly detailed. That changed my thinking because most of what we're taught is to create long, formal plans, but in reality, things change quickly, so adaptability matters more. Chapter 5 focuses on bootstrapping or starting with limited resources. I like this because it makes entrepreneurship feel more realistic. You don't need a huge amount of money to start, just need to take action and be resourceful. That's something I can actually see myself applying. Chapter 6, Guy talks about recruiting the right people. What stood out to me is that he emphasizes passion and belief in the vision over just experience. That made me realize how important company culture is, especially in the early stages of a business. Chapter 7 focuses on raising capital, and one key takeaway is that investors invest in people, not just ideas. That really stood out to me because it shows how important credibility and execution are. A good idea isn't enough, you need the right team behind it. And then finally, chapter 8 talks about partnerships. I learned that strong partnerships can help a business grow faster, but they have to be mutually beneficial. This made me realize that who you work with is just as important as what you're building. Overall, these chapters really shifted my mindset. Instead of focusing on being perfect or fully prepared, I now see that entrepreneurship is more about taking action, learning as you go, and staying focused on creating value. This definitely connects to my future goals because it makes starting a business feel more achievable. I feel like I have a better understanding of what it actually takes to get started and that it's okay not to have everything figured out right away.